Like a lot of lifting and powerlifting and success in it, and I think a lot, like kind of in any field, is kind of a member of um, or a matter of like balancing between doing too much and doing too little. Powerlifting is like that. You're lifting really heavy weight, and it's extremely heavy. It's dangerous, and you could hurt yourself. And even if your form is perfect and your training is perfect, your programming is perfect, you do everything correctly, there's still like a fairly high risk of injury. A lot of lifters do get injured, and you will have this choice of kind of gravitating towards one extreme or the other. So you're either kind of pushing towards laziness and doing less, or you're pushing towards the extreme of doing more and being like kind of too extreme and like potentially getting injured. And it's finding that middle where you train hard, but not too little, and not too light and not too easy. That's ideal. And it's something that all the great lifters struggle with. You have to hold yourself back, but at the same time you have to train hard, and you have to find like a happy medium, and that's always changing. um, there's more that could be said about that. I think that a lot of the time, like people, while you can work on yourself, while you can build new habits, while you can grow as a person over time, what your tendencies are tend not to change, and what your individual personality is and what your strengths are and what your personality kind of gravitates towards, that tends not to change. So like if you're the type that, and you usually lean one way or the other, some people like are a little more of an emotional personality, others are a little bit more of a rational personality, and you lean towards one or you lean towards the other. It's sort of like that. um, so similarly here, if you lean more towards being the personality type where you kind of lean towards laziness, then maybe that's something you have to kind of work on, and then I'm sure there are a lot of other people who lean towards doing too much, and they try to do too much work in the gym, they go too heavy, or they train too much, do too many sets, and they get injured. And I mean, either extreme is sort of bad, and it's like seeing which way you lean, and trying to work on it and find the medium, find that sweet spot where you're between, what they said this in a movie, like you're between rage and serenity. You're like somewhere in the middle. You're training hard, but you're balanced. You're psyched out, but then at the same time you're focused, and you're not like breaking form or anything. You're somewhere in the middle between calm and between like all out. Um, so for myself, I tend to gravitate towards laziness a little bit. I have had periods, even lately, it's been like that where I've been training a lot, and maybe I am pushing towards injury, or like pushing towards overtraining slightly and pushing towards training harder and training more than I should be, more than the other end of pushing like not hard enough. But at the same time, like I find for myself, like, yeah, and then I take a day or two off, and like I just naturally am like a person who kind of enjoys relaxing, and that can be a fatal flaw. And like if that's the negative that your personality gravitates towards, then it is that, and you want to kind of combat that and find ways around it and work to fight it. um, People, like, they have natural strengths and weaknesses and natural tendencies of their personality, and to the degree that you use them for your benefit, it's good. But then if you go too far with them, they kind of f you up. They kind of, I mean, cause you to lose, or they cause you to um, not arrive to the destination that you want, and like fail or lose or have things go wrong. um, so it's interesting too that when I um, coach different clients and I'm training people, I look at their personality and I kind of would push them based on that. And this is in-person training, when I'd be together, and I'd see that, I mean, I know my clients, when they're the type of personality that, I mean, they sort of lean towards like I don't want to do it, and laziness, and like not doing enough, I would kind of push them and be like, no, go for it, like really go. And then I had a few clients, maybe less, but I had some that like if I told them to do like 30 pounds more and hit the same number of reps, like they would try it and they'd probably do it. And those are the clients that like are the overachievers and they want to like crush training and like go super ham. And I guess I've leaned towards both extremes, towards laziness or towards crushing it and trying to do too much. But anyway, when I have those clients and they're the type that wants to do too much and they tend towards crushing it and like just dominating and stuff, like I have to hold them back sometimes a fair bit. I say like, okay, this is the work we're gonna do today. Do this, do a few sets of this, a few sets of that, and then go home. Like we're not gonna do more than that. And they're like, I want to do more. I'm like, no, like don't do this amount. Next week we'll increase it in this way with more reps or different sets or more weight. But until then, do this work, and then if you want to crush it, go home and crush it at your dinner time. And I'll say something like that, like go home, get your meals, go to bed on time, and do those little things, because those little things really add up to the biggest successes of all. It's the little habitual boring things, you know. So those are some of the clients that I have to hold back, and people generally tend to gravitate towards one or the other. Part of it is like a momentum thing too, that like an object in motion tends to stay in motion, object at rest tends to stay in rest. Like um, if you're kind of actively pursuing a goal or you're like really training hard, you're gonna want to train harder, sort of, and you're gonna lean towards one extreme. If you're resting, you're gonna want to lay in bed and just rest and not do anything, and you'll lean towards that extreme. So you want to find that happy medium, and then part of how you can do this, of course, is with training partners or friends who, like, if whether they're training with you or they're just around you, who can like objectively tell you that you're being lazy or you're not training hard enough, or you're maybe training too hard and your form is shit, or you're just doing it like, I don't know, you're kind of doing too much or something. You need either training partners or friends, or you need like a coach or like someone who's training you, because it helps to have that second set of eyes and like an outside perspective that can tell you objectively, or at least from their perspective, what you might be doing right or wrong. And I learned from the book Principles by Ray Dalio that it's valuable to talk to other people, because they can provide you two sets of perspectives that you can't have yourself. One of those perspectives is what he calls the blind spot perspective, is that other people, you want to get their perspectives because they can point out blind spots. They can point out things that you can't see. And not only can you like not see them in the present, but often you're incapable of seeing them completely because you haven't had the same experiences, or you don't have the same